This should be everyone's goal, to someday be able to live from the income of your personal resources. Now, how many resources you need, right, depends on how you want to live. But if you wish to live modestly, it doesn't take all that many resources over a fairly brief period of time to have enough resources to live modestly. If you wish to live more lavishly, of course, you need to accumulate more resources. But that's my view of financial independence, so that you can live from the income of your resources. Now, here's what else that does. Now you can choose the work you do. Now you can choose to work or not work. Now you can work not because you have to, but because you want to. When we talk to kids about financial independence, we say, do what you have to as quick as you can so you can do what you want to as long as you can. Next key phrase. Economics is major. Everybody should major in economics because it's such a vital part of your life. A paycheck is so vital because, first of all, it provides for you and the family's survival. Second, it provides for the opportunity of success. Some people feel we shouldn't spend that much time talking about money, but we really should. Someone says, well, you know, money is the root of all evil. Not true. Here's what it really says. The love of money is the root of all evil. And I'm sure everyone here has dispensed with the idea of falling in love with money, because that serves no purpose. Here's what's noble, what money can do. The projects it can support. The relief from debt it can create. Building a financial wall around your family nothing can get through. So economics is major. The key, of course, is what you do with it. If you earn a lot, you should give a lot. Key phrase from antiquity, here's what it says. If you've been given much, now much is required. If you've been given great responsibility, much is required. If you've been given much wealth, now much is required. Everyone has to solve this about the money to go for. Should you go for the money? Should you go for success? You should earn as much as you possibly can in the reasonable time devoted to economics, job, business. Reasonable time devoted to economics, job, business, future, enterprise. With that enterprise and with that job, the key is to earn as much as you possibly can as you balance your life with everything else. Not at the sacrifice of your friendship, not at the sacrifice of values, not at the sacrifice of integrity, not at the sacrifice of wiping out other values of your life, but within balance of everything. Go as far as you can, earn as much as you can, share as much as you can. Jot this question down. Is it possible in America to multiply your income by 10? The kids would be fascinated with this question. Is it possible to multiply your income by 10? And the answer is, of course, yes. Repeat that. Yes, of course. That helps to emphasize. That's called exclamation point. And kids with wide eyes will say, is that right? Can you start at the bottom and someday multiply your income by 10? The answer is, of course. Now, if you multiply it by 10, can you think of anybody that makes $500? I'm telling you, the Beverly Hills lawyers where I live make at least $500 an hour. Now we've multiplied income by 10 again. Would it be possible to multiply your income by 10 and then multiply it by 10 again? Now, see, that's a little weak. I'm trying to make you believers. To those that believe, here's what Scripture says. All things are possible. There isn't anything that's impossible. The most incredible things are possible to believers. Not hopers. Not hopers. Believers. $500 an hour. Would it be possible to multiply your income by 10 again? Of course. $5,000 an hour? What do you suppose I get paid? I'm telling you, it's possible to multiply your income by 10, and then by 10, and then by 10. I lecture with Norman Schwarzkopf, the old general. Guess what he gets paid for his speech? $65,000 for 1 hour. 65,000, not 5,000, right? 65,000. I had lunch with Colin Powell, and I was on that speaking panel for one of those multi-speaker seminars. I think he got paid like $70,000. It's a fun lunch with somebody who gets paid $75,000 for an hour. Unbelievable. Now, the person that's on up here, right, like Bill Gates and, who knows who else here, that makes $68 million in 1 year. We say, well, is that legitimate to pay someone $68 million in 1 year? And the answer is, of course. If they helped the company make $1 billion last year, would the company pay them $68 million? And the answer is yes, it's chicken feed. It ain't that much. Key phrase to jot down, everything is relative. Everything is relative. What might seem like a lot now, I'm telling you, some time from now for you won't seem that much. You say, wow, I was a small thinker back then, thinking, $4,000 a month is a lot of money. $8,000 a month is really something. I remember those days when $8,000 a month was unbelievable. And then $15,000 a month. Wow, I couldn't believe it. How about $20,000 a month? Incomprehensible. I flew on by that. How about $30,000 a month? I flew on by that. Unbelievable. How about 50? How about 80,000 a month? I remember when I went right on by. It was incredible. Getting paid by the week. I remember when it was, right, 20,000 a week and then 30,000 a week. How about $40,000 a week? How much property will they let you own? As much as you want and all you wish. Here's the country you live in. All you want and all you wish. That's about as good as we can make it. Next, here's the philosophy of the rich and the philosophy of the poor. First, the philosophy of the poor. Poor people, now this is not demeaning now, this is simply people of modest means. People of modest means tend to spend their money and invest what's left. If they have anything left over, they might save it or invest it. That's the philosophy, the poor philosophy. To spend your money, save what's left. Here's the philosophy of the rich. To invest your money and spend what's left. It's the same money. It's just a different attitude and a different philosophy. Either spend your money, save what's left, or invest your money, spend what's left. Now here certainly is the better philosophy. To invest your money and spend what's left. I say figure out what you think is best for you and try that. Part of it's a matter of age. At my age now, you make more conservative investments. Younger, you make bolder investments that could pay big dividends if you cashed in well. But a mixture of things that have a chance to have some good growth. But I think you have to decide your own aversion to risk, whether or not you can really tolerate it. I remember when those discoveries started coming out, if you paid off your home in 15 years instead of 30, by adding one more payment a year, some simple plan, you saved more than the price of the house. Everybody said, whoa, just with some better information. Now, some people really don't care as long as their payments are low. They'll pay the extra price of the house just because the payments are low. And that's one philosophy, but it's not a good one. And if you're got credit cards, right, that are at 14% and 16%, if you pay off those, it's hard to find an investment, especially these days, that'll pay that kind of return. So paying off your credit cards, paying off your home in 15 years instead of 30. Of course, now you can buy a home, get a 15-year mortgage. Why not save? Why not be prudent? Why not be careful? It's good practice. Even if you're rich, it's just good practice to be as prudent as you can, not to be stingy, not to try to cheat somebody, but to do wise things with your resources. Two things, the big challenge in life adventure. One, the full development of all of your potential, that's number one. Second is the wise use of all your resources, including your money and your time, which are two of the major resources, how to use your time and how to use your money. But teaching kids proper philosophy, it's important not to have a savings account. It's important to have an investment account. Just a change in terminology, it's the same money. It depends on whether you put it in an investment account or a savings account. All kids need is just one or two little lessons and they can say, well, it'd be a lot better to put it in an investment account instead of a savings account. I mean, that doesn't take 10 years of college to figure out. Sometimes you got to have some help. You go to somebody and say, look, here's how deep I'm in and here's the real deal. What could I do? Find somebody who's got some good alternate plans. If you go this way, it's a bit severe. Maybe the family can't quite tolerate that severe program for the future. Here's one a little better, but it'll just take a little longer. Because there's nothing more exhilarating, really, in terms of self-worth and self-esteem than just getting started. At least I'm not in reverse anymore. Who was it? If you're in a hole, stop digging. At least stop where you are and see if you can't now build a ladder, the best one you can design at the moment, with some help. But I think if it's a matter of finances and if you're overwhelmed and you've gotten in trouble with credit cards and all, I'd find somebody who knows some pretty good strategy for getting out of it. They've even got some programs, right, that have pulled off the collection people, not to go bankrupt, but just to give you, they're convinced that you've gotten a new plan. Rather than push you into bankruptcy, there's some places you can go that'll help you sort of rearrange your whole portfolio and start digging your way out. And it's surprising, once you start making progress, you get excited about it. The numbers don't have to be huge and big, as long as you're making progress. Let's talk now about what to do with the dollar, especially for teenagers and for kids. This is really important, because this is one of the best places to start when you're like 15 years old, mid-teens. This is a great place, what to do with the dollar. Now here's the tendency on attitude, because attitude determines so much of our lives. What difference does it make if a child has $1 when you ask what should he do with it? It's only a child and it's only $1. But see, here's where it all begins. Your financial journey begins with what you do with the first $1. That's where it begins. Now, sure, you can do the wrong things and finally correct that, get on a better path, but it all begins on what you do with your resources. Jot this phrase down. It's one of the best for the weekend. Here's the two challenges of life. Number one, the development of our full potential. That's challenge number one. Challenge number two is the wise use of all our resources. That sums up life in general. The development of all of our potential and the wise use of all our resources. One of our resources is time, and we talked about that. Now we're going to talk about the wise resource called money. And let me share with you now a little plan. Because when I met Joe, and he asked me about my financial condition, he said, how much money have you saved and invested the last 6 years? And I said 0. He said, not a good number. Here's what I told him. If I had more money, I'd have a better plan. Now jot this down, because here's what he said. If you had a better plan, you would have more money. Next key phrase, it's not the amount that counts, it's the plan that counts. So let's start with something now as seemingly as small as $1. What should you do with it? Here's what we teach, teenagers especially. You should never spend more than 70 cents. Never spend more than 70 cents of each dollar you earn, or each dollar that comes your way, by gift or by labor. Now, you've got to have some plan what to do with the dollar. I've developed this little plan simply for suggestion, and then you've got to do the rest to revise it and do whatever you want to with it. But here's what I teach. Never spend more than 70 cents. You got to pick something, some number. This is the best one I could figure out. Now we've got another 10 cents, and another 10 cents, and another 10 cents. which is the 30 plus the 70, which is the full dollar. So we spend nothing more than 70 cents. Now what do we do with the other 30? Here's some of the most important information. 10 cents is for charity, or for church, or whatever worthy project you think you might engage in. Here's one of the best things to teach kids: generosity. Because first we're going to teach abundance, to provide more than you can use for yourself. The be fruitful philosophy means to produce more than you need, so you have more than necessity. You have some to share. Some churches teach a 10% tithe, which is fine. The key is to either administer this 10 cents yourself or to give it to some institution in church and let them put it where it's needed. Now, if you're going to give to some charity or church, you must let them take you on the tour and show you where to do it. So if you part with the money, let them give you the tour. Here's where the 10% goes. Because now that gives you the choice. Now the next 10 cents is called the use of capital. Here's what capital and capitalism is. So jot this down. Capital is any value you set aside. Capital is any value you set aside to be invested in an enterprise that brings value to the marketplace, hoping to make a profit. That's what capital and capitalism is. I can say it in one sentence. Capital is any value you set aside to be invested in an enterprise that brings value to the marketplace, hoping to make a profit. Now, the capital is the value you set aside. Taking capital and investing it in an enterprise and bringing value to the marketplace we call capitalism. Capital and capitalism. Now, who can understand this? First of all, the farmers understand it. Here's what seed corn is. It's capital. It's seed corn means the seed that you set aside to be planted in the ground, take care of in the summer, hoping to have a profit and a harvest in the fall. So the farmer sets aside his seed corn. Question, would he let his family eat it? No, this seed is not to be eaten. It's to be invested in the ground, to take a risk, cared for in the summer, harvested and multiplied in the fall. Now, the same is true of some of your money. If you set aside, and I suggest, part of your capital should be set aside for an enterprise to show a profit. And we can teach kids the early fundamentals of capitalism. Now, once the kid has $1 profit, now what should he do with the $1? This is the formula that I've come up with, what to do with that $1. Don't spend more than 70 cents, 10 cents for church or charity, 10 cents to invest back into your business so that someday you can buy more than one bottle and get it a little cheaper so that when you sell it, you make a little more money. Now, here's the other thing. It's 10 cents that you invest and let someone else use it. This is called active capital, where you actually engage in the enterprise that makes a profit. Now, another 10 cents is for passive capital, where you let someone use this 10 cents out of every $1. You put it in a bank that pays interest. They use it and they pay you for the use of this money. That's called passive capital. So we've got active capital and passive capital. Maybe you invest this in a stock eventually if you have enough money, and the stock pays you dividends, and also there may be an increase in the value of the stock. So this is the little formula I come up with: 70, 10, 10, and 10. It's very simple. And kids can figure it out, kids can understand it. Enterprises that kids can be involved in starting early. Now, when you first start, if you're an adult now, you may be in such bad shape financially that you couldn't do the 70, 10, 10, and 10. If you're in real bad shape, you may have to do the 97, 1, 1, and 1. Because it may take this to pay your bills if you haven't had a good plan up until now. But jot this down now. It's not the amount that counts, it's the plan that counts. So let's say you were in such poor financial shape, you had to start 97, 1 for charity, 1%, another 1% for active capital, another 1% for passive. Now here's the key. To get these numbers starting up and get this number starting down. If you will actually do this, you can't believe how exciting it is to watch the numbers change. A lady in Mexico the other day said, I heard your plan 10 years ago. I followed it. She said, I'm now a millionaire. I own 2 different properties because you also said don't buy the second car until you've bought the second house. It's not cars that make you rich. It's real estate that makes you rich. She said, I'm now about to buy the 3rd house, so I'm now giving myself the luxury of buying the 3rd car. Simple little ideas. And she said, I followed the 70, 10, 10, and 10, taught it to other people. They're following it and getting great results. One thing I didn't know when I was growing up and found out at age 25, that you could work both on your living and your fortune at the same time if you had a good plan. Don't just work on your living, work on your fortune. Work on becoming financially independent. Financial independence is the ability to live from the income of your personally invested resources. And the day you can finally do that, what's exciting about that is that now you can work for joy and not for necessity. And strangely enough, you probably work a lot harder for joy than you do for necessity. I have a unique friend who started an enterprise, and by the time he had it up and running about 2.5, 3 years, he didn't have to work anymore the rest of his life. So now he's financially independent. But then he created a vast fortune, that next 20 years of his life, simply because he was working for joy and not for necessity. So get to that position as quick as you can. So I'm now teaching. Work both on your living and your fortune. The reason for earning a living is to make a fortune, not necessarily from your living, but from what you earn invested wisely. Talked to a lady the other day. She said, Mr. Owen, I'm in real estate. I said, wonderful. How many properties do you own? She said, no, I sell real estate. I said, well, let me ask you one more time. How many properties do you own? Finally got the message across. I said, the reason for selling real estate is to earn the money to buy real estate. If you sell real estate, you make a living. If you buy real estate, you make a fortune. She said, I got the message.
Let me give you my best look at worry, how to recognize it and define it, and what to do about it. And hopefully, these ideas will give you a good chance for confidence over worry. First of all, worry might well be killer number 1. And if it is not the number 1 physical killer, although doctors tell us worriers die sooner than non-worriers, and we have all heard the expression, worriers are dead. At least it is the number 1 killer of dreams and achievement, of energy and vitality and lifestyle. I know the damage and effect of this killer, worry, firsthand. I will spare you the details, but over a period of some 3 years, I let worry get out of hand. As I've mentioned before, I became a super worrier. I was good at it. The combination of small and big worries about my circumstances, what people thought of me, my finances, my abilities, the future, my progress, all led to a complete physical collapse. A stay in the hospital, emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion, and a deep despair I couldn't shake. A sad picture for a young man who should have been well on his way to carving out his share of opportunity. I am happy to tell you that good fortune came my way, and as many of you may be aware, I met a man, Mr. Earl Schultz, with his ideas and inspiration and the help of a very close friend. I worked my way past the minefields of worry and disaster and out into the clear air of mental sunshine. And if I did it, anybody can do it. I'm not saying it's easy. It took me almost a full year to kick the worry habit. It took practice and much effort, but it was well worth it. Remember, don't ask for the task to be easy, just ask for it to be worth it. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't ask for less challenge, ask for more skill. Don't ask for less problems, ask for more wisdom. It's the challenge that makes the experience. And life and its color and meaning and adventure for you is this collection of experiences. To wish them away is to wish your life away. So let's get to worry and what it is and what it does, how to define it, and what to do about it. And let's do it with eager, high hope that it won't be long until you will be free of the worry habit and on your way to the life and lifestyle that you want. First of all, let's define worry. There are many ways we could describe it. Worry is fear painting pictures in your mind. And if you watch that mental movie too long, you get a false picture of how things really are. Worry is a mental broadcasting station, and more often than not, it is false or at least distorted propaganda. Worry has that sneaky way of stopping short of giving you all the facts. Worry is often the trickery of mentally filtered facts on the negative side, and the bold declaration that these are all the facts. Worry has the mental audacity to suggest that the elevator only runs one way, down. Many times worry is a 5-alarm bell for a wastebasket fire. And worry is a depletion of constructive emotion. It's wasted mental energy. It's like letting the starter run the battery down when the car won't start. And worry is most often a lack of all the facts. A lack of full understanding, a lack of total information, and an unpreparedness of ability, knowledge, talent, courage, faith, and all the other virtues. That should give us a better definition of worry, and remember, left unchecked, it can become like a mad dog loose in the house, and the sorrow and pain and regret is too large a price to pay not to do something about it, and to do it now. You see, if you contemplated the total sum of human suffering long enough, it would drive you mad. You must understand how life is. Human suffering, man's inhumanity to man, war, disease, poverty. But it must be in what I call its rightful ratio of your mental and emotional time. So much for what worry is. The next question is, what can I do about it? What is the first step? My best advice on this is to first recognize worry for what it is, admit what it does, and then decide you now want to be free. It first starts with decision on your part. And may I add, well, you should decide. Why let worry continue to take money out of your pocket and bank account? Why let worry any longer keep you from becoming all you can be? Why let it rob you of better friendships, better business, better profits, better results, better communication, better family relations? Why impose your worry on others any longer? It's a burden you can get rid of and a monkey you can get off your back. Why not be rid of those sinking, nagging feelings that all is not going to be well, that you can't do it, that it won't work out for the best? Worry is undue concern that takes up too much of your mental and emotional time. Now we must all be concerned. Hey, life is no joke except to the jokers. Life and how to live it is a serious matter. It is risky, full of peril, and there are constant threats to the good we want, and to the pursuit of happiness. However, it is undue concern, or concern that takes up too much mental time, that begins the harm. It's like a family planning a wonderful trip. While they certainly should be concerned about the condition of the car, the tires, and making sure they pick the proper route, it would be foolish to allow themselves to be completely turned negative with the thought that they might crash and kill the entire family. If that were the case, even if they went, the entire trip would be turned into one nightmare of fear, with the specter of chaos looming around every curve, rather than enjoying the wonderful trip they had planned for themselves and their family. A lot of people do that with their entire life. So, start to make these declarations. And if you mean it, they will start you on your way to confidence and adventure, free of the worry habit. Say first, I've had it with worry. I'm tired of being beaten down and hassled with all those negative mental pictures. I refuse to be tricked by false facts. I'm really not that weak. Never again do I want those sick feelings inside, those mental false alarms. I'm tired of the drain on my resources. I'm tired of the embarrassment of the lack of confidence. I don't want people, especially my family, to see me in this state anymore. I've got more to offer. I refuse to let my life be short-circuited any longer by letting my mind run wild with a distorted view of the facts, whether I bring it up or if it comes from someone else.
Come on.
Prove it to yourself. Think back over all the things that you worried about, all the fantastic, catastrophic events that your well-meaning advisor